Well, great information, and it's a good segue into what we're talking about today. Because Todd, last week we kind of had this discussion of like we need to come up with ways to keep our clients informed about market conditions and informed about what's going on with interest rates. So the first point really is just more of a just kind of a mindset. You got to know that this is what people want to hear about from you. This is the topic that is on people's minds. I'm going to be the jerk in the room. Right now, they don't care about community events, and they don't care about all of the stuff that we're posting on Facebook and so forth. And maybe if you just handed someone the keys, they're not planning on doing anything, right?
Right.
But people, this is what's on their minds. They are concerned about interest rates. They're concerned about market conditions. They're concerned about a looming recession. So to start this process, we have to embrace the fact this is what they want to hear about. This is what's on their minds. You have to address these topics. You have to address these issues on a regular basis. And then when you do that, you just determine your cadence. And what we mean by cadence, how frequently, how regularly are you going to get this information out to your clients? Todd?
Yeah, this is a very, very cautious number here. And the reason I'm bringing up the word cautious is because if you open your mouth about what's going on in the marketplace right now and you're talking to an educated person, you're going to come off sounding really stupid. And that's a problem. Now, we're not trying to slow you down and stop you from having real estate conversations, but rather than be the person who's reporting, this is one of those times where you want to be the source of information. And my recommendation is get many different sources. Listen to NAR's chief economist, Lauren Young. Listen to the local information. Listen to Tina Tambor. Listen to me. Listen to, other people like Matt Baker. What's going on in the market? All these little pieces, if you can internalize it and understand it, have a conversation with Matt if you don't. But if you can, you're going to be the one in the room that shares the most accurate information. And as the market ebbs and flows, the things that you brought up that you have heard and that you cite, of course, the source, then you're going to be the one everybody's going to want to go to. So those is just, a cautious thing to be cautious about, Mike.
Yeah. And to my point, Nick, the last 10 networking events that I've been to, nobody's asked me, I wonder what's going on in my community this weekend. Everybody's asking me about interest rates and the market conditions.
Well, even like you said, if they just got keys, maybe they're not interested in that conversation. I disagree. I think if you just bought a home, you're super curious to see if it's gone up or down. And again, what Todd said, be the source of the source. We have agents all the time that aren't sure how to start conversations right now. You don't have to walk into a coffee shop and act like you're an expert in the Fed and what rates are doing, but you want to know enough to be dangerous and have a conversation and then say, but I have a really great person that we can connect you with. Let's get you pre-qualified. Let's find out what's going on. Those are the kind of conversations that we want you to be having. And then that just helps you stay in front of these people because you do become the expert and they go to you first. You don't have to give them the right answer, but you give them to the person who can give them the right answer. And that's what they're looking for.
And to Mike, your point, everybody's trying to give the same information because consumers want that same information.
Yeah.
So be different.
Well, not only that, it's just, again, it's be consistent about it and really determine the cadence. A every once in a while post isn't going to cut it. And that's my point. You sit down and say, okay, I'm going to develop the system. I'm going to develop, these are the things that I'm going to do. How frequently am I going to do it and then do it? So that leads into our second point.
Got it.
Okay, so obviously social media is the big one. So something that we've done, and it always pains me to do this, but I gotta give Keith Flynn some credit. He one day just laid this out here on one of our podcasts, and we've done this, and we've created a closed Facebook group just for our clients, and we call it Friends of the Recon Group. I know there's a gazillion different Facebook groups out there, but I haven't really seen this. Yep. And so people that are working with us or people that have worked with us are included in this Facebook group. And so this is one of the places that we disseminate information on the market conditions. People feel like they're part of something exclusive and unique. And so it's one of our platforms. So it's just an idea, create regular theme posts, come up with names, and maybe this, and Matt always has great slides that you can co-brand, whether it's market spotlights, interviews, interview your lender, interview your experts, Todd, I know, Todd, you'd be willing to be interviewed by agents.
Sure.
Create videos, write articles, look for articles. Back to your point, be the source of the source. Find those articles out there. But whatever it is that you do, be consistent. And if you and become the expert, even if you're just sharing other information, you want to still be viewed as the expert by your sphere of influence, because again, this is what's on their mind. So show up, be that person, be that expert for them.
Yeah, social media is excellent. I love Keith's approach to these things. I like to do two prongs. I like to have one that is sharing a little bit to the general population, because that's where leads come from too, also, in addition to your sphere. But I also like to be detailed and have greater depth and more value coming from the social media closed Facebook group, because that intrigues people to want to be part of your world. And if they're being smart, and think about it from this perspective, if you educate your client, Nick and I hate the word client. I mean, if you share your information with the people that you're closest to in your closed Facebook group, they are more likely to have a real estate conversation with their sphere of influence. And that's where your referral business comes from. So from this particular perspective, I think that is, the closed group is imperative in this marketplace today. Nick?
Well, yeah, it's interesting. Go ahead, Mike.
I did want to clarify, the closed Facebook group for clients only was just one part of it. That all the rest of this point, it's just the normal social media stuff.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you want to, obviously, yeah, this is where you're going to generate leads, and you want to make it for public consumption.
Exactly.
And I think we're getting into a world where the phone is kind of scary for everyone, not just realtors who don't want to cold call. If you're under 30 and your phone rings, it's kind of a terrifying process for you. Having a closed Facebook group that, as you're talking about real estate with your friends, your family, it's kind of a passive way to get them introduced to what this looks like, and they can start seeing conversations happening. They can see articles, they can see good information, so they kind of get that soft touch approach. They don't have to speak on the phone to a realtor, which could be really scary. They kind of just get to dip a toe in and then get more acclimated to what's going on in the real estate world. But I do have an obligation to say this thing we say every time we talk about social media and sharing things. Please vet the information. Please make sure that before you share an article, you read more than just the headline. Please make sure before you share something on social media that it's an actual factual quote from the person. It's not that says don't believe everything you read on the internet and it says underneath Abraham Lincoln. Okay, so make sure that you are doing your homework before you post on social media.
Excellent.
Yeah, and make sure those hyperlinks don't take your clients to another brokerage and another agent. So yeah, so that's a great point. All right, so and then lastly, as far as setting up this information, getting this information out, as soon as Nick gets off his phone and hits the space bar and gets to the next point.
I'm trying to figure out how we have webinar on all of our slides still.
is also do monthly or weekly if you want. I think weekly could be a little much, but do regular video texts. We know that text messaging has the highest open rate of all marketing out there. People open up their text message. So this is one of the things that we do. We have different segments, we have different audiences, and so about once a month we'll get in front of our phone and just create a small little video, a market update, kind of addressing, hey, I wonder what's on people's minds right now, and then create these videos and send it out to that specific audience. So figure out your different audiences. For me, one of my biggest audiences is Luke Air Force Base. So we have very, very specific videos that we send to our guys and gals out there at Luke Air Force Base. It could be past clients. I mean, it could be, you just create the different audiences, and then with those video texts, you could do a lot of creative things, interview your lender, and make them short, make them quick, but get this information out there. And then I just put on here, you don't have to. Sometimes I do this because I'm just kind of curious of if anyone's actually watching my videos. So every once in a while, we might upload that video to YouTube and then send out that link, and then that way we can see whether we're having any response and so forth. But for us, we have a very, very, these video texts are highly effective for us because we know that people, one, they like video. Two, they're getting a text message from us, so they're looking at their phone. And so it's very, very effective strategy for us.
So would you prefer, and I'm not asking you this, Mike, but would you prefer to read a book while you're driving or listen to an audiobook while you're driving? There's so many opportunities for click the button. I don't have to go to my website. I don't have to go to my email server. I don't have to slow down and trudge through things that I already know 90% of them are just spam. This is something, Mike's calling me, or Mike sent me a text. What is it? I hit the button, I open it up, and you gave me a short video. And, and you talk about, because you can say so many more things with tonality and with, coming across with your point easier in video than you can in text or even in email for that matter. So it's as close to having a prospecting conversation with a particular person as you can potentially get.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's a couple different things. So you talked about your demographic, Mike, and I think that's a bigger question and a bigger conversation for a lot of realtors. A lot of agents don't have that ability to kind of look at their sphere and say, what is my target demographic? If you're able to, then that's a little more pointed, and you can say, how does that demographic take in content? And most people, it doesn't really necessarily matter how old you are, is going to be video is the easiest way to listen and to see and to learn about what's going on in the world. It's kind of what we're being taught and inundated with every single day on social media and our phones. So video is a very easy entry into having conversations and getting content out there. Agents get super nervous about actually doing it, and that's the thing. Don't worry about it. Just get your phone up and take a video of yourself, and then kind of look at the content in the video you're looking at, and are you that age demographic that you're working with? Are you that type of person? And just kind of play around with what you're doing. And again, it's a lot of stuff that agents really aren't doing. I know a lot of you on here are listening to us like, I'm not going to do any of that. I promise doing a couple of these things, you'll start to get more interest. You'll start to get more interaction on social media and online. And that's where the deals start to come from in this kind of a market.
Totally.
All right, well, that is our 3-pack. And really, again, the point of the matter is keep your clients informed about what's going on as far as the markets go and as what interest rates go. You determine how you're going to disseminate this information, how you're going to get that information out, determine the cadence, how frequent, how often, and the most important thing is you just have to be consistent.